What's going on YouTube? BT5 is almost at its end here in Japan, and one of the decks that I played the most is LordKnightmon, and it's probably one of the strongest decks in the archetype, but I've been really trying to find that perfect build, and I wanted to show you guys what I came up with before we go to the next set, so you guys can see, you know, right out the gate what BT5 LordKnight should look like. I'm actually going to start with the actual babies this time. Shoutouts to me, remembering stuff. So this deck has a split of two kinds of baby Digimon. First off is going to be Woopamon, the baby for yellow, which basically lets you draw one on attack if you have less than 3 security. Second one is going to be the Peakmons that have been introduced in BT5, where if you have more than 3 Digimon out on the board, you can give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 1000 DP on attack. This is going to combo into a lot of the pieces for LordKnightmon and some of the other effects that happen in yellow, so these are really great to include. Next up are the vanillas. You got the 3 of 2-drop Protomons. Super simple, super cheap. So we talked about being able to reduce Digimon's DP before. Starmons lets you do that as well. On play, for every Digimon you have on the board, he gives one of your opponent's Digimon minus 1000. For these, yeah, you're going to be trying to clear stuff, so these guys are super important, super useful. Very flexible card. Next up are your... So these are like the more techy cards, like the techish cards. You can kind of swap these out for other stuff, but these are the splits that I have. I've got 3 copies of Protomon, who allows you to, on attack, give away your opponent's Digimon minus 1000. So, yeah. Again, we're going to follow along that trend of just trying to get our opponent's Digimon to 0 and get them deleted. Now, this card is because my buddy Obama has been running really strong, very value-oriented green deck that I cannot stop him from just going crazy with memory every turn. So Kyutomon is a tech card to stop green in its tracks. Basically, if you don't know what Kyutomon is, it got introduced in BT5, and basically it prevents your opponents from reducing the cost of their Digimon. So reboot no longer functions, which is not reboot, but download no longer functions at all. So even if they rest their Digimon, they have to pay for their full costs. I've got 2 copies of that in here just because I hate green with a passion. And finally, I have 2 copies of the newly introduced promo card Pulsemon. This is probably one of the best level 3s for yellow that the game offers right now. On play, if you have 3 or more security, he allows you to draw a card. Additionally, if you have 3 or less security, you get +1 memory. So if you have exactly 3 memory, you get both effects. Plus, 2-drop and you draw a card. Pretty good. These cards are kind of hard to come by, so if you can get these cards early in the West, please get them as fast as you can. Even in Japan, they're kind of pricey now. Moving on to the level 4s, we've got your vanilla level 4s, which include 4 copies of Totemon, your 6/1 6000 beat stick. Not bad, just again a cheap evolve. Next up, you've got some nice little blockers, some cheap blockers in Pidomon. Again, 5000 blocker, 1 to evolve, what's not to like? And finally, you got some thicker blockers here in your Unimon, who basically 6000 blocker, but he costs 2. So the most expensive level 4 in this deck, but 6000 is a pretty good stat line for blockers anyway. Next up to level 5s, I've got 1 copy of Seraphmon. Sirenmon, not Seraphmon. Wow, very different. Sorry, editor. 1 copy of Sirenmon. I like Sirenmon in here just because it's a cheap 5 too. Sometimes you need to get to level 6s quickly. In the case of LordKnightmon, that's very true. And yeah, this enables you to do that and not give your opponent 1000 memory. Next up, we've got your 4 copies of Megalogrowlmon, and he has a Digiburst effect on main, where if you remove 2 Digimon sources from under him, you can reduce one of your opponent's Digimon by 4000. Again, Starmons, your Upamons, all kind of comboing into this, reducing your opponent's DP kind of theme of the deck. And then on Inheritance, he lets you, if you have less than 3 security or less, he gains 1000 DP. And finally, your other level 5s, and these are your cheat level 5s. This is, you pretty much never Digivolve into this guy unless you're hard up for actual level 5s to get into your level 6s, but Knightmon, who on play, so for 7 costs, reduces one of your opponent's Digimon by 4000. So both your level 5s are going to be reducing opponent's Digimon's attack, hopefully to 0. And these guys are going to combo well with your LordKnightmons, we'll talk about in a second. For your level 6 is the star of the show, LordKnightmon. LordKnightmon, super crazy effect. It's insane this card isn't the most expensive card in the set because its effect is so good. On attack, it allows you to play either a level 3 Digimon or Digimon with Knight or Holy Knight in its name on the board for free. And you do get their on play effects, which is really good. Additionally, on both turns, for every other Digimon that you have on the board, this gains plus 1000 DP. So on play, you drop onto the board, you attack with it, another Digimon comes out, it becomes a 12,000. You play another Digimon, 13. Play another Digimon, 14. So the more, the wider your board is, the stronger this card is. And it enables itself by letting you play other Digimon on the board. For example, Knightmons. So what you'll do is you'll play, Lord Knight, you'll swing, drop a Knightmon, drop one of your opponent's Digimon by 4,000, and then you can even evolve this into another level 6, like another Lord Knight, or your 3 copies of Slash Angemon, who has probably the best common card effect in the game right now, which is on evolve, give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 8,000 DP. So yeah, he pretty good. With the combination of Knightmon on play from Lord Knight's effect, and then Digivolving that into a Slash Angemon in the same turn, you can effectively take out a 12,000 Digimon. That's not including, any other effects that happen on the board, like from the level 3s, the babies, etc. Finally, for the Digimon, I've got 3 copies of Chaosmon Valderarm. Again, he just follows the theme of, reducing opponent's DP to 0. On Digivolve, he allows you to activate the following effect 2 times. Reduce a Digimon on your opponent's side of the board's DP by 7,000. So you get that twice. You can effectively drop a 14,000. He could drop 2 7,000s. And also on delete, you gain 3 memory. So if your opponent has a way to take him out, you get something for it. Really strong level 7. If you can get a couple copies of those, do that. So the deck also has a couple of Tamers to help you out with memory. You want to be able to, get memory so you can go into your LordKnightmons as fast as possible. We run 3 copies of Takeru, or TK as he's known in English. On play, you basically get to look at your security and you take a yellow card out of security and you can put it into your hand. And if you do that, then you can recover 1. So basically you take the top card of your deck and put it into your security so you don't lose any security that way. Additionally, every single turn, if you have less than 3 memory, he puts you to 3 memory. That's what you really want this card for. Being able to, have that 3 memory every single turn to get into your LordKnightmon and swing at the same time is super important. And I used to run a myriad of different options in this deck, but I decided to go the route of just having more Digimon because it enables LordKnightmon to be a little bit more impactful. But I did decide to run 2 options, and those are the Yellow Memory Boost, 2 copies of the Yellow Memory Boost. Again, like the other memory boost, it basically lets you search out the top 4 cards of your deck, put a yellow Digimon into your hand. It's great if you need to find a LordKnightmon or a piece to get into your LordKnightmon. And it has the delay effect where turn after it's played, any turn that you want, you can destroy it and gain 2 memory. So if you want to make a really big, big tempo play, these enable you to do that as well. That's pretty much LordKnightmon. Now, this comes with the caveat that LordKnightmon in this format is super diverse. I feel like you never see 2 deck lists that are the exact same because there are so many cards that benefit from LordKnightmon's effect that there's tons of tech options. So for example, I've got 5 just right here that I just quickly pulled out of my my binders. The first is level 3 Patamon, who basically once per turn, whenever you drop a Digimon's DP to 0, you gain a memory on inheritance. So not bad. If you put this on a LordKnightmon, that's super good. Additionally, you've got cards that were made specifically for LordKnightmon, like Kotemon, who lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then basically search out a warrior type, or I think it's Holy Warrior Digimon, and grab 2 of those and put them in your hand. Again, with Lord Knight's on play attack effect, you play them, get that effect for free. It's free card advantage. Additionally, you've got cards like Gladiamon, who is the evolved form of the next form of Kotemon, and he lets you look in your security and basically grab a Digimon and put it into your hand. So again, very similar searching effects with Kotemon. Next up, you've got Protomon. If you want a more control-oriented deck, you can run Protomon, who has on delete. If you have less than 3 security, if 3 security or less, recover 1. And he's a little bit expensive at 4 cost. But if you play him with LordKnightmon's effect, then he's a 0 cost. So there you go. and you can just keep them around for whenever you're getting low memory, swing them into a security, take out one of their security, recover one of your own, and keep it moving. And finally, so this was Protomon was for more control-oriented decks. If you want a more aggressive deck, you can run some Bushi Agumons who have super high play costs, but if you play them with LordKnightmon, again, it's free. And he has the ability Haste, which basically lets him attack as soon as he comes into the field. In most card games, they have like a form of Summoning Sickness. Digimon's no different, and there are a couple of cards that can bypass that effect. Bushi Agumon is one of those. And so yeah, just off the bat, like these are 5 techs you could opt to switch out any of the cards in my deck for. But there's a myriad of other techs that you guys could also include. I mean, the deck is super varied. Depending on what your matchups are, what you're worried about, you can swap and switch out some of the cards that you need or don't need. For example, my Yugioh tech to get rid of green. Green's a download effect. But yeah, that's the deck. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Are there any tech cards that I didn't include that you think that will be really useful or really good? And what are your thoughts on the deck? Especially some of the option cards that the deck can run. Things like Zakosho or Spiral Masquerade. Again, this deck there's so much room for creativity. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.